Hello and welcome to Prop Talk.
Hello.
I'm Brad Elliott along with Scott Buckwald. We are your hosts for a few more of these and hitting all the notes. This is the official podcast of the Property Masters Guild. Mikey's happy he's producing for us, but he won't be in the mic too much today. And we have a very special guest today, and I am just so happy that she's here. She's one of the unsung heroes of certainly the Los Angeles film community and television community, among others.
And now she's in a magazine.
And she is featured in the spring 2026 issue of Prop Culture magazine, which is very exciting. Please welcome Nikki Hicks.
Hi, guys.
Thanks
so
for coming.
much for having me. Oh, my goodness.
Did you know, growing up, Nikki developed a love of film and television as it brought her closer to her family. They held regular movie nights.
Are we just going to read the article? Spoiler.
It'll save us a little time.
Yeah, I guess it might. Well, actually, you know what? The last time we did this, which was just about an hour and a half ago, I started with asking you your origin story. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is going to be like my motif, is that I ask people the origin story. Because that's always the fun one to watch in superhero movies. So, Miss Hicks, can I call you Nikki?
Yeah, please.
What is your origin story? How did you get into working in the prop department? And let me before I'll give you a second to think about that, because I forgot to say what Nikki does is she is the sort of salesperson extraordinaire at ISS, Independent Studio
So
Services.
you don't get it until she gives it to you.
Right, exactly. And she is your greatest ally.
The
at
first
least
line of
has
defense.
been for me in pulling stuff, getting pictures to us quickly. This is when I say unsung hero. She is behind the scenes, really in a major support position for all kinds of property masters working on all kinds of different projects. So sorry, I got that wrong. And then I asked a question and didn't let you answer because I am really new at this.
No, I appreciate it.
But I would love to know after that introduction, how did you get started? Why are you in this business?
Yeah, I've kind of just hopped all over the place. I start kind of what's in the article. I grew up with such an appreciation for film. My father is huge into horror, and so we were big into like finding campy horror movies to watch as a family, or anything that was like specialized in like practical effects. And so I wanted to I consider myself a maker, so I as a hobby would make and create fun special effects things, and I did makeup. And at the time I was actually teaching preschool. So I was finding that I was leaning more towards being a creative. And so I decided to quit teaching, and I went into makeup school and special effects and focused on that. And that kind of led me down to prop making. And that's how I landed at ISS. I was interested in prop making and props in general. And they gave me an opportunity there, and it was my dream come true.
What brought you, though, from doing set work to doing ISS work?
I think I was finding that I'm a little ADHD noodle, so I can't be in one place at one time. I love trying a bunch of new things, and I found that being an associate at ISS, I get to be on a bunch of different shows and get to work with a bunch of different people and have the opportunity to try new things. And if, hey, maybe this is not my cup of tea, then I get to try something else and work with different people. And I'm finding that like it worked for me, where I got to work on my dream projects, and all of them, because I got to work with you guys.
Have you gotten to set very often? Do you get set invites?
I do get invites. I haven't had the opportunity to go.
Because that's one thing I've always tried to get my ISS salespeople to do, is visit me on set.
Yeah.
But other than when I bring weapon handlers on, it's always tough to get you guys to find a break in the time to come visit.
Yeah, but gosh, I would love that opportunity.
Well, now I feel like an idiot for not inviting her to set. Man, I'm sorry.
No, I know you guys are busy.
Next time.
I would be there in a heartbeat.
So what are some of what was your favorite movie or TV, or what inspired you? You mentioned horror. Like what's the one as you were a kid that hooked you?
Oh man,
if there is one.
I don't know where to start. I think it started with like the Lost Boys. I was such a fan. That's what hooked me. The makeup, the special effects, the acting, the silliness of it, the campiness of it, The Thing. realizing that these are things that I can't make in home, but these are things that people made, they sculpted, they created, these are props. And I was like, I just want to touch these things. How do I make that happen?
It's interesting that it's that feeling of wanting to touch it that brings you into the business, because it's a way of you touching it.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of props, is like that's what we do. We hand the actor the thing that they touch. And I think that's incredible.
I like that you keep saying we, because I think, as we were talking before the microphones were hot, there's so much of what we do behind the scenes, and it's bringing us into it and touching it, and how our salespeople at ISS are very much a part of the prop department. And I think that in previous generations, the dynamic was a little different. Like, I've always found all of my salespeople to be very much a part of my department, and you're very much one of the we, where it's not like going to any other kind of store or retail establishment. You're not there strictly to serve us. I find people now that the salespeople are more than just salespeople.
And we appreciate that. We that's how we feel. We don't.
But it benefits us. Yeah. It's not even doing it. It's not even doing it just to be polite. It really is. It really is true. I found on my last show, Tyler was very much a member of my crew.
He's incredible.
And I trusted him, and it was great to have a member of my crew in LA when I was in Albuquerque.
Yeah. I like to think of us as like that extension of your crew. We're boots on the ground. You guys let us know what you need, and we're there for you.
And it's really true, because at times, I don't remember on the last show in particular, but even if Tyler is my salesperson, I know if Tyler wasn't around and you needed to help me, I would have as much faith in you working with me as Tyler. There's a definite corporate head office when I go to ISS or any of the prop houses.
Yeah, and I think we think of ourselves as like a big community and family, and that's how we work. If someone else needs a hand, or you use Tyler, or you typically work with Tyler, but if you're like, Nikki, I need a hand with this, I will drop what I'm doing and I will help you.
Right. I always feel like you guys always have my best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Our prop masters are our family, and we're an extension of your team, and that's what we want you guys to feel, and that's how we feel.
Right. Well, that's about it for today.
Wrapping up. No, I've said before, whenever I've had the chance to talk to people, that as a property master, I feel like I ride on the shoulders of giants. And even though, we're at the head of, and we're the figurehead, and we're the image, and we're the face of the department, without the on-set crew, without the person keeping the truck tidy and knowing where everything is, without our salespeople like you, we're nothing, because you can't do the job yourself.
And the sales crew,
find the team.
The sales crew even more so, because as far as keeping the truck clean and the stuff that it's within our grasp on the prop trailer, but you're out of our grasp, especially when I'm doing a show out of town. The fact that I know that, like I said, Tyler or yourself have my best interest at heart means so much to me. I remember working on a Queen of the South, and on a Thursday night, we're 3 hours ahead. We were in New Orleans, and the director all of a sudden wanted a sniper rifle. And I called Weapons, and John in Weapons was there at the time. And John had enough time to pack the weapon for me, but he had to take the gun to LAX and put it on a plane for me, because by the time I called him, the last FedEx shipment, I had missed it. But I had to have the gun the next morning. And I'm thinking, that's amazing, because it would have been just as easy for him to say, sorry, Scott, you missed the last FedEx shipment. There's nothing I can do. And I would have had to tell that to the director, and, what are you going to do? But he wasn't content on leaving it that way. He packed up the gun. He drove, once he checked out of ISS at the end of the day, he drove to LAX, put that gun onto a plane, and first thing in the morning, I had it ready to go. Yeah. And that, to me, is a member of my department.
Yeah. We want to do our best to help you guys succeed.
But it makes you succeed as well.
Exactly. Yeah. We find so much joy and pride in what we do, and a lot of that is like, being your guys' boots on the ground. You need a prop tomorrow, we will make that happen. And
do you find it different now? I find that in looking back from the 90s or early 2000s, I find the salespeople now are far more integrated within the department than they were.
I think, certainly in the case of of Nikki, she's really smart and creative,
And she's in the magazine.
And she's in the magazine. She's made the magazine.
Yeah.
But
name spelled right and everything.
I say that to sort of illustrate that, there's a lot of times, especially if you're working, out of town or even, Manhattan Beach Studios or somewhere far away where you're not even like Fox, it's really hard to get up to ISS to do our own polls. And so it is so nice when you have somebody who just kind of intuitively gets it, which I think you've mastered, that you could say, oh my God, okay, I need some luggage and I don't really know what I'm looking for, but it's this kind of a person. Let's find some florals. Let's look at some, whatever it is, because props, and we talk about this a lot, props build character and props help make culture and create the environment for the actors in a way that, props get seen. Especially hand props. And so it's so wonderful to have somebody that you trust, like Nikki, and you're talking about Tyler, who you can give that to, and in 20 minutes or a half an hour, there's going to be some pictures coming your way, or maybe even 5 minutes, depending on how fast you need them, that are going to be in the ballpark already.
It's also a matter of always feeling very comfortable. I always feel at home at ISS. And I've brought some really big shows to my salespeople, and then I've brought some really small shows. And I never felt any different. Like the show I just finished, I was in Albuquerque from beginning of August until February and rented very few props. It was not a big prop show, but Tyler was as helpful to me as my salesperson would be on the show I did before that, which was very big. So I always like that. I always feel that my request is your request, and that means a lot. It means a lot when I call up late at night and I ask for something, or I show up at ISS at the last minute, and when you say you'll drop what you're doing, it's nice to know that you're willing to do that, because I don't take that lightly. It's very difficult for me to have to kind of say, make me the center of the universe right now, because I need to be out of here in 20 minutes. And knowing that you're already thinking that takes a lot of the pressure off.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate both of y'all. You're very kind. I think regarding like small or big jobs, like for me, the way I approach jobs in general is there is no small or big job. I do my absolute best to treat everyone the same. You can be the hugest prop master, or you can just be a student just trying things out.
Which is also a great point, because I remember even in the early 90s when I was coming in doing really, really small non-union shows, I always felt like such a big shot when I came into ISS.
Yeah.
Everybody knew my name, and everybody was always so willing to help. And then I would have my little cube truck parked next to a 48-footer for some guy, doing some major movie. And I felt like in the same league as that person.
Yeah.
And that was always because of you guys. And
that's
and that was from salespeople, who were gone well before, you ever set foot in ISS.
Yeah, and that's our goal. I know that, some of these students or these smaller projects or someone that's up and coming, everyone can be huge someday. Right. And I want them to feel that way. I want to encourage and have them feel that pride, because I feel pride in being able to have the opportunity to work with all of these
It also
projects.
becomes a safe spot for us. I always feel that when I'm in ISS, like I said, I've told Rick Caparelli, it's always been my home office. That I always feel that I feel at home there. I feel comfortable there. And to the point when I'm not working, I love working out of my truck. I just like that environment. I still feel like I'm necessary.
Yeah.
When I'm there.
Absolutely. I mean, you're part, both of y'all. I mean, everyone here, everyone is a part of that ISS and that props family. And we feel that way with y'all. And I hope that when you walk in those doors, you're like, oh, yeah. There's my Nikki, my sis Nikki, like right. I that's how I want you guys to feel.
Well, and it's great that you're so invested. Like, you know that you're not just going to get, okay, he wants some luggage, whatever. Let's just pull 8 pieces. I don't care. Here's a picture. You're thoughtful in what you do. And I think that elevates the work in general. And, you don't, the real bummer is like, you don't get your name in the credits, and you don't always get the crew gifts. And you're, like Scott was saying, integral to these departments and everybody you're working with. It's you're there. You're doing the work, and it's really appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much, and I think as sales associates, we realize that we're not going to get those names in the credits, but the pride that we have, for example, like the article in the magazine, the pride I had to be able to touch one of these props that are going out to be on one of my favorite actors, like this is a dream come true. Just being able to work with you guys is a dream come true. So there's a lot of pride in what we do.
So you say you were kind of a maker. Mm-hmm. I got to hit that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like what do you make? Do you make now, or do you have like a little home studio?
I do.
What are you working on?
We call it a little maker space. Currently, a lot of my projects are kind of on pause, but I'm working on some cosplays for some upcoming cons. I have friends who have resin printers, so I focus and specialize in painting. So I love to paint, I love to airbrush, and sculpting. So anything I can get my hands on, it's nice and muddy and fun, and making masks and creating that way, that it scratches the itch.
Do you get an opportunity at work to do any making for shows?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of talking to the SAT end, or do you like where you are?
Yeah. I do love where I'm at. When I first actually applied to ISS, I applied to SAT because I just came out of working for a shop for Horror Nights for special effects there. But I found that the ability to work on all these different projects and work with incredible prop masters like you guys was what really took my heart. Like it's where my heart is.
You definitely have to get yourself to set more often. It is, there's a lot of satisfaction in it.
Yeah.
It's as much as you say you enjoy being able to touch the thing, it's that same satisfaction of being on set and then seeing the actor take that prop.
Yeah.
And especially when you could feel like you've given birth to it and now there's your baby.
Yeah. I'm sure that's an incredible feeling. I'd love that opportunity. We were talking about this earlier, but I'm so glad that props in general are just getting, like with the PMG, like they're just getting so much more recognition now. And what we do is so important for telling a story and the culture. And it's being able to, like you said, touch that prop. It's just so exciting for us. And I want people to know how much we love doing it. And how much pride and love and joy that we do just touching this thing.
I know I said it already, but every time you say we, it really makes me happy.
Oh, thank you.
The reason is that when I call up, and we keep using the luggage as the guide. If I call up and I say, Nikki, I need luggage, I don't want you just to run to the shelf and grab me luggage. I can do that. What's great is when you'll talk to me, or you'll read the script, or you'll know what kind of luggage is appropriate for the scene. Mm-hmm. And that to me is what makes you a member of the prop department.
Yeah. And sometimes we get a little story like, hey, this is the character, please pull me examples for this.
Right.
And one thing that it's kind of a superpower that sales associates have, no customer is the same. So if, Brad were to be like, hey, I need luggage for this thing, I would not pull the same options that I would pull for Scott.
I really wish I started with something other than luggage. It just makes our job sound so boring. It's like, what are we? Yeah, we're the suitcase department.
We're the luggage guys.
Yeah, mostly we do luggage, sometimes chairs. It's a pretty good time. Sorry.
No, it's weird.
The Samsonite line in the 90s, though, was just phenomenal.
Man, those commercials with the monkey jumping
with the
on
gorilla
them,
throwing it around.
Can't beat that. There are definitely more interesting props we should.
So many. Where to start?
But
thousands.
Tell me about,
like,
briefcases. You probably have to do some research. Like if we call up and say, "Hey, I need a license plate for Philadelphia in 1982,"
mm-hmm.
like you're going to be moving in it. Like, is it all internet, or do you just keep that all in your head?
A little bit of both. License plates, for example, I just have locked in here now. Like I can tell a license plate from afar, and it's like a little strange little superpower I have now.
That's awesome. I also apologize. I went from luggage to license plates. I'm coming up with the dumbest examples.
That's so great, though.
I'm staying with the L's. I'm gonna find another one. You guys talk for a minute. I gotta think.
But yeah, you'll notice that a lot of us sales associates, we have our phones in hand because we're constantly researching. And because our jobs are always on the go, y'all are always on the go. That boots on the ground, we're researching in real time. Okay, you want this 1970s bell cart. You want this 1980s satchel or whatever.
But see, you have to be conscious of that.
Absolutely.
To me, it's not that you have all that information in your head, but that you know to ask that question.
Absolutely.
Because, perfect example, many, many years ago, I had asked for some period walkie-talkies. And I got a bunch of period walkie-talkies. My problem with them was it was the wrong period.
Right.
And then when I spoke to the salesperson, I said, these are wrong. They said, his response was, well, you said you wanted old walkie-talkies. And it started becoming that, that feeling where you want to say my head is about to explode, because it's the question you should have asked me is what period. Right. When you don't ask me what period, I assume you know the show I'm working on and you know what walkies I need.
Bingo.
But old walkie-talkies could be anything from, the 40s through the early 2000s. And I just find that your responsibility to us is no different than my responsibility is to the showrunner or the director. So if you slack off, it looks bad on me. And if I slack off, it looks bad on the director who I'm working for.
Yeah.
Well, and what's so impressive, too, here is that, we have one show to keep in our head, and you have
many
dozens.
Yeah.
And to be able to manage that and to switch from one to the other and then back and then to the new one, and it's really impressive because you've got to be in all of it.
Yeah, it's definitely turning off and on and using different chunks of your brain to and this is something that I learned the hard way, where there's never, and there's a beauty to it, there's never a finished project. I'm going to hop on one thing and then I know I'm going to be pulled off to hop on another thing, and you just have to be understanding and okay with, I'm going to come back to this, and I'm going to switch my focus. I'm working on a 2010 job with 2010 police, and I've got a 1970s police officer up on another show.
But it is, it is a really major skill, because whether I've brought in a big show or a little show, like I said, I've never felt any less relevant because I'm bringing in a small show. When it's either you or Tyler, whoever is working with me, I feel like I'm your only customer.
Yeah.
So you can imagine it's a little bit of a jealousy letdown thing when I walk in there and you're talking to other prop masters.
That's flattering. We appreciate that.
It's okay. You can have other prop masters. No, but, and budget as well. Like I did a tiered movie a year or two ago, and it was like no money, and we're supposed to be at 400 BC, and it's Shakespeare, and it's and the actors are big name actors.
Was that shot in Atlanta?
No, we did it here.
Okay, it's not the one I'm thinking of.
No, it was Lear Rex, which isn't out yet. It's probably Al Pacino's last film, but it you were really helpful in working with our budgets too. And at the end of the production, we dropped a lot of stuff off because they didn't want to keep an inventory, and I certainly don't want to have a bunch of weird stuff on the truck.
That stuff was awesome, by the way.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Cool.
I was hopefully it's like, I don't want this to be an example of like, here, you throw it away.
No, that was great. It was great.
So I'm glad that worked.
Yeah.
But you guys are also, it just made me think, you're also always on our side, because I know when I've brought shows in, you always do your best so that I have no L&D. So that if I do something and there's a couple little things missing, there's always a way. Your priority is the better I look, the better you guys are going to look.
Yeah.
And it's so appreciative. There's nothing better than wrapping a show and being able to tell the line producer, no, I had no L&D.
Zero.
Yeah, we're always, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'm always willing to work with y'all. And that, I think, sets ISS apart, too, as a whole. Like, we want to make you guys look good. And that's not just the props and the what's on screen. It's the paperwork afterwards. It's your rental sheets.
It's also, budgets. It takes, I think one of the keys to a good a good salesperson associate is also having an amazing amount of patience. A story that Carl and I have talked about many times over the years. I was pretty new to the prop business. It must have been early 90s, 94, 95, and Carl was a kid. Like I said, Carl was probably younger than his son Tyler is now. And I walk in there and a prop master was berating Carl, screaming at him, and being not just rude, but very inappropriate, and just really just going up one side and down the other. And I'm thinking, a lesser person, if they didn't just grab the guy by the throat and throw him out, he would have deserved it. But Carl just stood there, and he wasn't just taking it. He was just doing what he needed to do. And when the whole berating had ended, Carl was like, I will do everything I can to make sure it's taken care of. And I remember when that person left, that prop master left, I asked Carl, how do you take that? And he goes, it's part of my job. He goes, it's not a matter of me being upset. He goes, do I like being screamed at? Of course not. But he handled it with professionalism isn't even the right word, because I think a lot of other people would not have handled it as well. And, here it is 30 some odd years later, and it always made an impression on me about how well Carl handled that.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we all work really hard in, is we realize that you guys are working so freaking hard and your jobs are so hard, and maybe you're just having a tough day. That director or whoever's coming at you.
Yeah, but it's, you know what, it's never... It's to Carl's credit that he handled it the way he did.
Yeah.
But you and I could work on 100 shows together. There might be times where you could see I'm stressed, but I would never lose my temper.
Yeah, that guy just sounds like a dick. Yeah. I mean, there's like safety pass classes we have to take. You can't do that anymore.
Oh, he was... Well, I'll tell you his name off air. I think he's long retired, but I know Carl will remember.
It's a stressful environment, and when you have a salesperson like Nikki, and you've got our back, at least mine. I don't know about the other ones, but it really helps. Just knowing that
easily?
We can lean on you.
I don't. I think this job has really helped me with that, because I have admittedly had some customers just had a bad day, and I was the first one there to take it. And
see, it's just not fair.
It's just not fair.
It's not the way to do it.
It hurts sometimes, but then I have to realize, like, I can't take that personally.
I had an assistant on a show get upset with a PA, and I said, that can't happen.
Yeah.
No one should go to work on any level and have to leave the set crying or upset, or wake up in the morning dreading to have to go to work because of a possible conflict. We have enough shit to deal with. And you have, especially, like you said, you have, 5 shows, 10 shows to deal with. You don't need a prop master coming in and dragging you under the, across the floor like that. Yeah.
I'm hoping, too, that's sort of a thing of the past. I think it's really like this from, talking to, and I don't want to say old timers, but talking to some of the folks that have been, before us.
Well, we're the old timers.
We are now.
How did that happen?
We didn't die, probably, but which is good. But it used to be there were a lot more yellers, and there are still people out there that you hear, yell at their crews and are loud and boisterous, and that's not my style. And I think, like, I've always gotten much further with quiet disappointment.
Right.
Yeah. That's the
it's
stuff
a
that'll
really
make
good
me cry.
mental anguish. Anguish is much more effective than physical anguish.
I can still bring it, but it's gonna be quiet, and I'm gonna be looking down and shaking
that's
my
what would
head
make me cry. If you came up to me and you were like, "I'm real disappointed in you, Nikki," I'd be like, "Oh no."
I had an assistant say that to me. She goes, I would feel worse if you came up to me and just said, I let you down.
Oh my God, my heart would break.
But the stress does build up, and it's
would,
part of the dangers of this industry,
yeah.
and why certainly ADs don't live that long. It's difficult. You carry a lot of stress.
I think for a prop master or anybody to explode that way, it's more on that person. So I'm sure if I came in and I was on a stressful show, you would know it, but you don't need to be the target of my missile, so to speak, because of that. It's not. And it wouldn't give me any relief by just unloading and screaming at you.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for the relationship that I have with my clients. Like with Brad, for example, I know there have been times where you're like, I'm frazzled right now, Nikki, I'm stressed. Help me out with these things.
That's
and I did.
Never happened once.
No. But you have been very communicative with me and very transparent. And I love that communication with my clients, where I don't take things personally, because I know your jobs are so freaking hard. But also I love when you guys are telling me, hey, I'm having a tough day. I'm having a bad day. It's a bad brain day. And then I'm like, cool, let me step up and take that weight off your shoulders.
The best thing to hear from a salesperson at ISS, when I've called up and I'm stressing out and I feel like I don't know which way to turn, the person goes, Scott, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really believe it. And then I just say, thank you so much. I hang up the phone and I realize the next time we have to deal with this, the problem will be taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Nikki specifically, we have a really good working relationship, and, so much that when ISS was going through the down portions of the industry that we were all feeling, and there were layoffs and reduced hours, and I'm calling Rick Caprelli saying like, Rick, you got to keep Nikki around. I've just got a good show, and I need her specifically, please, because you're smart, and that's one of the things that you can't teach.
I appreciate that.
Right.
Once you have someone on your team who is smart, they can learn anything. Just like we were talking in the last episode about, we're only a couple of YouTube videos away from learning how to do anything. It's you don't get that unless you have smart, and you've got that, and you offer it, and you bring it, and you stay focused, and you stay in it. It blows my mind. I don't think I could do the job because you've got 6, 7, 8, 10 projects going at one time, and they're all different, and you're keeping them all balanced. It's like those old vaudeville acts where they would just spin plates on sticks. I just see that's what you do all day long, and it's really impressive.
I
so
appreciate
I just,
that.
See, that's
Thank
the
you.
other reason I always wanted you to come to set, so you could see what we're going through, because what you see of us is really just the smallest part of our job.
I know you
And
have
there's
so
craft
much
service.
place.
There's like free food.
Yeah, you get free stuff.
There's all kinds.
Like you want
just,
a bag of potato chips?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay. You just pick it up.
Doesn't
open it
even
up.
cost
Oh
anything.
my goodness!
Like
Who
if
do I ask first? Do I say please and thank you
Nope.
over
It
and over
depends.
again?
It's frowned upon. It shows weakness.
It depends on the crafty team. Sometimes you've got to ask for it, but you can always get your peanut butter apple wheel.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But like
peanut
you want to
butter
drink,
apple
you could drink
wheel?
like half a Coke, spill it out, then get a Dr. Pepper and just drink half of that too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
I appreciate you guys. Those are very, very kind words. And I, as someone who has trained other sales associates too, something that I pride myself in, and I think has gotten me to the position I am now, where I get to work with incredible prop masters like you guys, where I ask so many questions. And I know that sometimes it can be a little like, all right, Nikki, another question. But like, that's how I gain information. And I feel like the more questions I ask, are you doing 1970s? What kind of walkie do you need? This is a police officer. What is it? A officer or a sheriff? Like, I'll ask a ton of questions, but then I'm just learning. And now, like,
But that, you know what? I think everybody, you tend to be sensitive to your own weaknesses, and I'm very much into asking a lot of questions.
I think that's how
and there are times where I'm sitting down with a director, and I feel like I'm going on the verge of being a pain in the ass because I'm asking all these questions. And there are times where I'll apologize. I say, I know I'm asking a bunch of questions. And the good directors will be like, no, Scott, this is good. Ask me these questions because it's bringing out thoughts.
This is the time.
And when you ask me lots of questions, you can never ask me too many. It's something I'm sensitive with, in particular as an individual. So when you ask me those, I appreciate it.
Same.
Because it also, what it does is the one thing I hate to have to do is to start Scott-splaining. And I don't...
Could you explain what Scott-splaining is, please?
Well, it's a lot like Brad-splaining, but because it's Scott-splaining, it kind of rolls a little better.
And you probably use fewer words than I would.
Right. And I tend to be very talkative in my descriptions. And I know there are times where I've had show and tells and meetings with directors or showrunners where a lot of other prop masters would have been out of there in 20, and I'm there for an hour and a half. But the result is that when the show is done, every one of those questions has paid off.
Yeah.
So when you're asking me a lot of these questions, it's preventing me, it's doing several things. It's telling me that you care. And when you ask the question, I think you'll learn it better than when I just tell you the answer. And also, there have been times where you've asked me questions and I realize I wasn't prepared for an answer for that.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that point. Is every year I get dumber at this. I'm just not getting smarter. And the fact that you are so invested in our success that you ask the questions is sometimes you just take a little bit of the brain drain away. And you've thought it through maybe a couple steps ahead of what I've thought through, and it's really refreshing.
well, that's good
to
to know.
not have to think of every. So yeah, ask the questions.
There have been times where, and I think this might have happened on Ransom Canyon, where I'm on the phone with Tyler, and he asked me a question, and you get that chill in your belly. And it's like, if Tyler did not ask me, he would say, Scott, do you need such and such? And I get this chill because it's like, oh my God, I never thought of that. And if Tyler hadn't said it, I wouldn't have gotten it. And if I didn't get it, there was always the chance on the day that someone would have said, Scott, do we have So
Yep.
And I do the same thing in my department, that I always tell my set people, everybody is someone's last line of defense. I'll go through and I do what I consider a very, very good breakdown. But I want and I tell my assistants, read that breakdown and don't just look at the call sheet. Read the script, read the breakdown. And in the morning, before you even look at what we've pulled for that day for the set cart, you should know already what's on that cart and you should go through it. I don't want you to be on set 4 or 5 hours into the day and realize something is missing when the AD calls for it. And also the reason I want them to look on the cart in the morning is because I might have forgotten something. So they might say, Scott, you forgot a rubber gun. And it's going to happen. And you are even before that, because when you're pulling my order, it's very possible you could suggest something that I never would have thought of.
Yeah, and you do often, and it helps.
Right. And it's also because you're doing more shows in a week than we might do in a year or several years.
Yeah.
So, in any given day, you could be doing a period show, a police show, a medical show,
all at the same
a
time.
military show, right, a contemporary show, all these different shows. So what better wealth of information than you?
Yeah, and I'm finding that, like, not only with just like asking questions and getting that information, kind of using things that work for my brain with prop masters has been really beneficial. For example, Thunderbolts, like I had to send out hundreds of setups, and I thought to myself, like, when they're on set, I want to make it as easy for them as possible to grab a setup from a box and hang it up. So what I did is I like printed pictures, put them on each box so they know each box is going to have this setup in it, is going to have this description on there. That way they pull it out, they know who to hand it to. And I just did another police show, and hundreds of belts are going out, and they're just kind of similar, but could easily on set, if you're handing them out, you're in a hurry, I want to make sure that you're set up for success. So each one I taped on, like, okay, this is this setup, so that okay, this is going to go to this guy, or this is going to go to this guy. So in the best way, these things, these little extra details that would for sure work for my brain, I'm like, I feel like it would work for y'all too. I'm going to just do that extra thing so that it makes life easier for you guys.
And it ends up becoming not even the extra thing. It ends up becoming the required thing and the standard.
Or it becomes the system that we use on set too.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sure.
It's amazing how the standard keeps climbing, because when I look at what sales were like in the late 90s compared to what it is today, you guys have definitely brought it to a higher level. And I think it's gone hand in hand with in the industry. Mm-hmm. We were talking in the previous episode how things that were accepted 25 years ago, from graphics to whatever, are just not as easily accepted today, if even allowed. Mm-hmm. And the same thing has happened with salespeople. You guys have become far more researchers, in depth, pulling things, much more of a source of knowledge for us than... Again, I don't want somebody I'm going to call and just say, pull a police belt and put it in a box and ship it to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't need to be a salesperson to do that.
So when I first started in this industry, I heard some stories around, based on Linda Montana, actually, how she used to have prop masters that would come in and drop off scripts. And she would do, the salesperson, she would do the breakdown, and she would put together a budget, and she would look at schedules. And does that happen still? Or
I can never imagine doing that.
I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable
but
as a prop master just
Yeah.
pushing all the work off onto somebody else. But I know that in the past that has happened. Have you ever had any experiences where maybe a prop master is just leaning a little too hard and taking advantage of what you're willing to do?
There have been some times where I've gone back and forth with a couple prop masters, and they have asked me to do a budget and stuff like that, and I'm always happy to help. If it's sometimes we get asks that are kind of outside of what a sales associate would do, but that's what we're happy to help with. If it takes the weight off your shoulders, then well.
When you say there's things that a sales associate should not do, is there a training at ISS? Like when you first, I know you start a lot of times as an assistant to an associate, but is there any kind of formal, we don't want you doing this?
Like embezzling, stuff like that.
I think that's typically frowned upon, but not necessarily. I think a lot of us are just kind of trained by getting thrown in, honestly. And I think that's for film industry people, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think all of us work best when we are thrown in. We are all physical learners. We learn visually, and we learn on when we're doing the project.
Example, if let's say I was working on a World War II era military show.
Probably having to do with aviation.
Let's just say. And I asked you, I said, I need a bunch of pilot gear. I need the right weapons. At some point, do you have your boss coming up to you and saying, Nikki, you shouldn't have to research all this because it's taking hours of your time to find out what sidearm this person would carry, what patches they would wear, what's this, what's that. At what point are you really becoming the prop master? Because it's very easy for me to call and say, I'm going to be in a month. I want police gear, I want military gear, and it has to be right. Mm-hmm. I mean, at what point do you say, guys, some of this has to be, give me some information here?
And I think that's the balance where questions come in, where I will, if I'm getting minimal information, then I will go to you guys and be like, hey, I actually need this to make you succeed. Send me some reference photos. Is this the look you're going for? And I realize that sometimes you guys don't have a lot of information. So it's my job to get that and help you gather that information. Right. So it's not necessarily all of us doing that work, but I'm working with you to make it happen.
That's a good answer.
Do you ever just not have enough time, though?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of plates.
Yeah.
And you got to keep them all spinning.
Yeah, it's
and
a lot of balance.
And then if somebody wants you to do their taxes while you're spinning the plates.
Good. Do you remember when ISS, they used to be open, 7 in the morning until 6 at night? Mm-hmm. And now it's, 8 till 5?
8 to 5. We've definitely been asking to stay until 6. Some of us do come in at 7 when we need to. And it's a lot of things to balance. So creating that extra time to be able to sit down at your computer and do this research and learn about, this very niche thing. It's so important.
How has the business improved? I mean, there's no better pulse, finger on the pulse than yours. How are things looking now as far as the amount of prop masters starting up jobs? And
I think it ebbs and flows, but I think right now things are looking great. A lot of my commercial clients are saying that commercials are picking up, which is great. A lot of my series are picking up. I'm seeing features getting prepped, so I have a lot of hope. This is the first time I've felt a lot of hope in a while.
That's good.
Yeah.
There's been a few years of dark days for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
It's been more than a few years now.
Well, but I definitely understand that it makes everybody in town nervous, and I wonder how much that's affected just the environment at ISS, where you keep coming in and it's like, hey, is somebody going to show up and rent something today? I'm sure there were days there were very.
It's also sad, doing a show out of town and then coming back and seeing people missing. I mean, that's heartbreaking for us.
Yeah.
There are people like Jeff in Returns.
Yeah.
I adore Jeff. And it was sad coming in and not seeing him there. Mm-hmm. And I realize it's not ISS's fault. It's the business. And at the end of the day, as much as you say, we're all family, it is a business.
Exactly.
But it's very heart-wrenching when you come back and some of your favorite people are not there. And it wasn't because they retired or got another job.
Yeah, and the guild isn't just an LA-based guild. We're global, which is great. But we are sitting here now in Los Angeles, and this is where we work out of.
Right.
And when I get to ISS and I see all the trucks there, and there isn't a space for one to come back in, it's like, oh man, this is just a rough time in the industry. Mm. The one thing that I think Los Angeles has right now, and I hope it can hold on to, is probably some of the best infrastructure for making film and television and commercials and what have you is here. Truly. And people like you are part of that infrastructure that help this town succeed in a way that maybe
Albuquerque has a lot of things, but it doesn't have Nikki.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate that too as well, Brad. I think LA is this is where it all started, and I'm really, really happy to hear that a lot of, or a handful of projects that, we're moving to the UK or, going to Georgia and Georgia's great too. We have, prop houses over there as well. I just love to hear jobs and things getting prioritized in LA. It makes me happy.
Because it has to be tough on you, as I say, I go to ISS and there's people missing. It has to be tough on you when there's people that you see all the time, prop masters, and you realize, oh my God, that person hasn't had a show in a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah. And I hurt with you guys. And it's not just because, it's not just a work thing. It's like we all thrive on this.
You personalize it.
Yeah, we all thrive on this wild business. We have special brains to be able to do what we do, I think. And I think that all of us just thrive in working quickly and hard and doing these wildly creative projects. And it hurts my heart when, I do have customers who tell me that, hey, it's been about a year since I've done this big project, and I do whatever I can. Like, all right, let's get you talking with someone. Let's work things out. Let me reach out to so-and-so. But I think that's the beauty of the PMG as well. It's created such a community for all of us to be able to rally together and be like, it's been tough.
It is a big deal when you feel like you're not alone. I think that's something else we were talking about before we went in front of the mics, that I know more people now than I ever knew in my career. And when even with the magazine, and I was saying this to you, when I read stories about prop masters working on particular shows, how I could internalize it. And I was saying that at times I even start to get anxiety attacks because it's like, oh my God, that could have been me working on that show. How would I have done that? To realize that we're not alone, that all of this stuff that we're going through is very familiar and very similar to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to piggyback off of that, oh my gosh, I didn't get this project. But again, the beauty of this community now is I feel like all of us are like, yes, you got that project.
Right.
Like, this is where we're all standing with each other. And it's not, and I've been seeing this transition, especially lately, where it's less competitive and more community based, where we're lifting each other up. I didn't get this project, but you know what, come and work with me. And I'm seeing that so much, where all these prop masters are bringing in these other prop masters that don't typically assist, for example,
right.
And they are assisting, and that makes me so happy that everyone is just working with each other.
Yeah, it's a new day for sure. So I want to get away from doom and gloom, which is a real easy place to spend some time. But everybody in this industry is probably got here because they're a fan of something. That is TV, movies, maybe commercials for some. But what have you gotten to work on that you were like fist pumping, like, oh my God, I got to do that on that show, and I watched it, and there it was. Like, I'm sure you have these moments.
Especially with the amount of shows you work on, you're bound to stumble upon all these different shows that
something that you like. Is there anything that comes to mind? And it doesn't have to be one of mine.
It totally is, though.
I've got $5 for you after we're done here. Thank you.
What a wonderful problem for me to have, but like, I don't know where to start. Like, I came in here, my goal when I became a makeup artist was I want to get into the union and I want to work on American Horror Story. And I ended up transitioning to ISS Props, and I ended up working on American Horror Story. And I was like, that is, my dream came true. Holy crap. Like, it happened. It was a different parallel, like a different trajectory. I wasn't doing makeup, but I
you were
got
still
to
on
work
the show.
on it.
You were in
I
that
got
world.
to work on
And
it.
you're contributing.
Exactly.
In a real way.
Exactly. And I think, gosh, like dreams, like working on Thunderbolts, for example, I was like, being able to see that on screen and all the hard work that like myself and the teams that I worked with put into that was a dream come true. And yeah, I don't even know where to start. There's so many projects. I'm so grateful to be able to work on them.
When the movie comes out, do you look forward, or the TV show, do you look forward to going to see it as something you worked on?
Absolutely. I will get my family to go with me. We're rallying, we're going. I will, blast it out to my friends like, guys, I did that thing, or like, look at that.
See, that already endears you to me forever. It amazes me when I've worked on episodic and I talk to members of my crew or other members of the crew in general, and they're like, nah, I've never seen it. It's like, how have you never seen it?
Right.
Even if you're not the demographic for that show, everything I've worked on, absolutely everything, I will make sure to watch it.
Same. Yeah. Even if it's not necessarily my vibe or a show that I would
Right.
normally watch, I'm going to be watching it because
I mean, I've done a bunch of teen-oriented shows
Yeah.
that are high school-oriented, and it's not my thing.
Yeah.
I might not be watching it if I hadn't worked on it, but I will always watch every episode of every show I work on.
Yeah. And there's so much pride in what we do. And again, with the PMG, like we are creating now this community who is so proud of what we do. And
It is the
their
first
work.
time we've ever had a community.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's
We've
incredible.
never had a community before. How long have you been at ISS now?
8 years.
It's that long. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Right.
Really does. Do you ever feel like you deserve a screen credit? Because I'm thinking now, like, it
Yeah,
wouldn't
so
be
am I.
that hard to
No, when
to
they ask-
push for it.
right, when
and
they
just
ask-
say, hey, you know what? I also want my sales associate who's done all this work behind the scenes. Like, let's put her name in the department, because why wouldn't we? We were talking about you, and I'm sorry that this is just occurring to me now. It makes me feel a little self-centered and selfish, but I'm realizing as we're saying, like, oh yeah, you're on our team, you're on our crew, and I'm like, why do you not get a credit?
Gosh, we would love that.
You know what? But
Love
it's
that.
but everything
Why aren't
has
we doing
it
this?
starts here and now.
I get, okay, everybody listening,
Yeah.
put your salespeople in. Give them a credit. If they you're contributing in a very real, meaningful way.
It's certainly easier on feature work than on TV, because a lot of times on episodic TV, they'll put the prop master's name in and that's it.
Yeah.
Or they'll rotate through the crew that's there, and like on one episode you get these two people, and on the next episode you get these two people, and so one every fourth episode, the names come up, even though they're there every single time.
But see, that's why I always felt at very least I'll always make sure for T-shirts and jackets, any of the swag we get, I always make sure to get
yeah.
stuff for them.
That's so appreciated. It's so appreciated. We love it.
Because but it's well deserved.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's just well deserved.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to start writing some angry letters about this credit thing. They go by so fast on TV. Why can't they just put them all in there?
Right. I remember
like they just fast forward and it's
my
just
mother
like,
would
how do you-
complain to me when she was watching something. She would always go, Scott, can you say anything? Because I'm looking for your name, and they shrink it, they put it to the top corner of the screen, and then it goes really fast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'll give the head of the studio a call
Yeah.
tomorrow afternoon and let her know.
We'll throw that in Brad's angry letter.
Oh, yeah, we'll just add that to the letter.
You guys can put a little blurb at the bottom. Thank you from Nikki. Thanks.
Have you ever wanted to get onto a team more on set? Have you do you have aspirations?
I do.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Can
that
you
would
tell
be
us about
dream.
your aspirations?
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, transitioning to props, me realizing that this is the industry I want to be in. This is the community. These are the people that make my heart happy. I would love to someday be able to assist you guys on set.
Do you ever? You're union. Mm-hmm. What is your union? What is your union specification? What are you in as?
A props person.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can work on set.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That.
So property assistant, I guess, would be the rate card, because there's prop master, there's assistant property master, and then there's property assistant, who is that's the third rate.
Right. But there is a property person.
Is there a property person too?
Yeah.
Man, I got to read these.
Yeah,
rate
because
cards.
I've had a bunch of times. I very rarely, even for day players, I won't hire people as prop persons. I'll hire them as a property assistant.
Yeah.
And then I've usually gotten the angry call the next day from the line producer going, Scott, you can't hire them as a property assistant. It's a different tier up. And but it's also the same line producer who go, if you only need him for 8 hours, just bring him in for 8.
Yeah.
And I'll tell, I go, I can't do that. I go, if I needed to bring you in on set for an 8-hour day, I would tell you that in advance. But to come up to you in the middle of the day,
Oh no,
and say,
that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, because then you're not going to want to work for me. Well, it's good to know. There's been a couple salespeople at ISS, some mostly who predate you. Sarah Snyder was my assistant for years.
Yeah.
All of her early jobs was for so it does my heart good seeing her prop master now.
Yeah. And she's definitely an inspiration. Being, she's female and was a sales associate, and that's hard too. Being a woman.
She was my
in the film industry.
salesperson. Sarah was amazing.
Yeah.
Up to that time, she was one of my favorite, if not my single favorite salesperson. And I kept telling her, I go, when you're ready to leave ISS, give me a call.
That's incredible.
And she called me, and basically she left ISS on a Friday, and I started her on a Monday. And
Wow.
we worked together. We worked together for maybe 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Until she went on her own.
That's awesome. And she's such an inspiration. She intimidates me in the best way.
I'm always really afraid of poaching. Like, I don't want to be seen as the guy who's pulling
Right.
somebody really valuable, because you're an incredible asset to ISS, obviously. So I've always said, like, I can't be your first hire out of ISS or SAT or Thingergy or HPR, any of those shops. But I'm like, once you're out and you're looking for your second job, I need you to call me.
Oh, see, I have no problem poaching.
I'm just afraid.
That's valid. I don't think ISS sees it that way. I think they want to encourage us to move on to bigger, better
they know
things.
it's a normal progression. It's not, you wouldn't be the first person to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's just a normal.
And people are allowed their aspirations.
Sure.
Yeah, and I know that they want to see us succeed, and they understand that, like, you're an asset, but also, like, this is going to fill your cup. This is going to make you super happy. We want to encourage that.
Right.
Yeah.
And, there's, again, you should never everyone always likes to say we're a family, but it is a business.
It is. Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
a business on both ends, and I don't think either end should ever be naive to that.
For sure. And I totally agree with that. There's that balance for sure. But yeah.
Are there any projects that have come through ISS that you haven't been the sales associate on that you've really wanted to be? Like, is there anything that you just like saw right over there, just 2 desks over,
Oh my goodness.
and you didn't get to touch it, and darn it, why wasn't that my show?
It's happening right now. It's with Tyler. He's working on, or in the past, he's worked on the Fallout series. And
Wait. Tyler, my salesperson? I thought he only worked with me.
Yeah.
He's working on somebody else's show?
Sorry, it's a secret.
That is so embarrassing
It is.
to find out on a podcast.
Tyler's going to be watching this
That
and
you're
hear you
not
say
the
that you're
only
working with
one.
someone
Yeah.
else, and he's going to be like, Nikki, what the fuck?
Yeah. When I first started assisting, and it was the first season of Fallout, I went to my manager and I was like, you don't understand, this video game is my life. How do I work on it? And he was like, just send the prop master an email. And I did. And it was like, can I help you? Please. Thank you. I love this video game. And he ended up working with a more seasoned sales associate. But sometimes I see Tyler working on it and I'll be like, oh, what's going on?
The first time I ever had that in my entire career was when I was doing Old Man. I had so many ISS people coming up wanting to talk to me about working with Jeff Bridges. And I brought Jeff to ISS one day.
What?
Greg wanted to give him a tour.
Oh, that's so cool.
At the beginning of the show, I'm like, do you want to come and see where everything comes from? And he was like, yeah. And he
that's
came
awesome.
to ISS, took pictures with everybody. We did a weapons training in the weapons room. And Greg and Rick, and we brought them all through the building.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
it was fun.
Yeah.
And then he had such a blast seeing where we get our stuff from, and that it's not just go to the shelf and pull things off. We brought him to the weapons department. He got to shoot all these different guns. And then as we were leaving, I was like, where do you go to next? And he goes, oh, I have a wardrobe fitting. And I go, so what's more fun, shooting a machine gun or trying on shoes?
Shoes can be great, though.
Yeah. And I also brought him to the ISS luggage department.
Oh, yeah. We gotta
License plates too.
bring it right back around to luggage and license
He got to
plates.
flip through all the license plates, see all the period
Oh,
plates.
wow, you've got Kansas? That's amazing.
It's funny. New Mexico, best plates. So fun.
I have boxes of them. Do you want them?
I love that you have a favorite license plate.
It's stuck. It's right here.
No,
I see it.
I never thought that my box of New Mexico license plates would actually be considered a chick magnet.
Yeah. I'm not sure that it is now either.
Don't burst my bubble.
Okay. No, you're all that's man.
But yeah, I definitely see projects where I'm like, oh, dang, that would be so cool to work on. But I'm still in such proximity to it. And we work so closely together, all of us as sales associates, that, he'll come over and be like, oh, what's this thing in the video game? And I'm like, well, let me tell you. Let me go on this 15-minute rabbit hole about
Yeah,
how much I love
time
this.
do you have?
Yeah.
No, it's the fandom. I've been lucky enough to work on stuff that I've been fans of.
Yeah.
When I was like 12 years old, and somebody said, "What are you going to do when you grow up?" And I honestly, I answered, "I'm going to work on Star Wars and the Muppets and
Yes.
Indiana Jones." That was my answer. And I've been fortunate enough to check every box. I was assisting for, I went in to sweep Doug Harlocker's truck for like a day just to say that I worked on an Indiana Jones, and he kept me around for a couple of months.
So awesome.
And we got to do the Kenobi series, and obviously the Muppets have been a big part of my career for a long time, and so it's amazing what we get to do.
But it does my heart really
joy.
good to hear that, because so many people are doing it as a career, not as an inspiration, as a love. And it is one of our relationships in our life. And to hear you talk about the shows with such passion, and same with you, Nikki, it really makes me feel very good about what I do, because I always tell a showrunner when I get hired on a show that I will be this show's biggest geek. That I love everything about the show.
Yeah.
And I watch the episodes, and sometimes I like making little toys as gifts. I'll always make action figures of shows that in reality would never have action figures made to give them as gifts to the line producer. And it's great to be able to be part of that and not just take it in stride. There's so many people who have worked on these big shows, and they just work
It's just
on
a
it.
job.
It's just a job.
Yeah.
On Old Man, one thing Jeff Bridges loved to do was to FaceTime. And there was nothing better than to be hanging around my house on a Sunday, and all of a sudden my phone rang, and it says FaceTime Jeff Bridges.
Oh,
and I
my
answer
gosh.
it. And on the other end of the phone, it's like, "Hey, man. Hey, Scott. Hey, I'm not bothering you, man, am I?"
That's so
And I'd be
cool.
like, "No, Jeff Bridges. I'm happy to talk to you." Because
You
instantly...
call him first and last
You
name.
don't even call him just Jeff at that point.
No. No, that's in my internal voice.
Oh, I see.
Is that,
Okay.
it's like I'm talking to him, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm like having a FaceTime with
That's
Jeff
so
Bridges."
cool.
And I can't wait to get off the phone so I could start calling friends and family going, "Guess who I just FaceTimed?"
Yeah.
You can screenshot it.
I fanboy all the time.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough on
And you bring that to the show. It
Oh, yeah,
shows
I
up in
bring
the
the
props
energy.
that you do.
They've got to be cool.
Yeah.
Or what's the point?
Yeah.
Like if you're not bringing something interesting, and this goes back to you helping with the vibe of different property masters, like I take some risks with what I put on camera, and I'll always have a safer backup, but it's like I call it the seatbelt rule, is I'd much rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? It's a seatbelt. You don't know where you're going to go exactly. You don't know what they're going to want.
But isn't that wonderful? Just in our like think about this. None of us have any idea what show we might be on this time next year. You might prop master the next.
Who knows?
The next Star Wars movie. You have no idea.
No, that'll be in London.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm hoping for another one of these big, tall, naked blue people movies.
Yeah. Is there going to be another one?
Yes. I mean, I think that's the short answer. Is
Yeah.
we'll probably be going back to Pandora, because it's a franchise that I think Disney is still very interested in.
And that was shot all in L.A.?
No, we did the capture work here, and then the live action was all done in New Zealand, in both Wellington
And did you go to New
Auckland.
Zealand?
Yeah. Moved the
Wow.
whole family to
Wow.
New Zealand
That's incredible.
for almost a year
Wow.
to do that stuff. And then COVID picked up and the world fell apart. And
Wow, it was that long ago.
it was that long ago when we were doing the live action. Yeah. Because these types of films take a lot to get the digital work done.
Sure.
Not to go too far into the weeds, but this was the Avatar Fire and Ash and Way of Water were rendered at, I think, 60 frames a second, and they were stereo, right? Because it's 3D, so you have stereo pairs, and each frame, I was told, each second of the movie, I was told, takes something like, if you're going to have one computer do all the compositing for that, it takes about 5 years.
Wow.
For that one computer. So the render
To
farms
render
were
it.
obviously massive,
Yeah.
and Fire and Ash comes in at a very tight 2 hours and 77 minutes. So you can imagine how much computing power goes into it, and how much time that takes down pipeline to get the editing right. And then we did reshoots,
Right.
because the movie was coming in a little long, not 2 hours and 77 minutes long, but way longer. And so it's a lot.
I got to admit, when you were doing the reshoots, that was when I first started working with you, and you're like, hey, I need this, this, and this for Avatar. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm fangirling right now.
Well, next time we're going to get you on set.
Yes.
Because that'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be awesome.
It would be great if ISS is ever slow, to be able to lend you out to where Rick would be your immediate, is that?
Yeah.
To be able to talk to Rick and say, hey, could I bring Nikki on a show?
Yeah, or even just a day play.
Yeah.
Just to get in so that you can get your hands on it.
I think that would be so beneficial to be able to learn.
I've brought that up to Rick a couple times. And I said, when I'm doing a show in town, I would really love to be able to bring my sales associate to work as an on-set assistant. I think it gives you a whole different appreciation for what we do. I think it's important just for your value for what you do.
Yeah.
To know
I'm
that.
sure that perspective would make you a lot better. Not that you have much room, but it would help you be better at things because you'll understand what's down pipeline, I guess. To use
and
that phrasing.
every prop master has their own little quirks, and it allows you to see why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
Like the one thing I always tell my salespeople, not when I'm doing a local show, I don't like all of my props boxed. I like everything just put out on the decker, and I'll roll them to the truck and let me sort them out and box them.
Yeah.
I don't like just getting boxes with all of the stuff in them.
Yeah.
And I have my reason for that, and it might be totally different, the way...
I work a lot differently. I'm a weirdo because I hang real close to the set because that's where the show happens.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so
always on set.
I'm like, how often on Abbott was I actually even at ISS?
Yeah, I didn't see you
Once?
much. Yeah.
Twice? Because... I have always kept whether it's a film or a TV show, I've always kept a very tight orbit to the shoot.
Do you keep your prop office? Because my prop office is out of my prop trailer. I don't like taking an office in the building because it takes me away from set.
I take an office in the building because it's air conditioned and there's a bathroom nearby, so that's always great. But my trailer is also fairly unique because I've set my trailer up as a makerspace. My trailer can build
That is so cool.
anything.
Yeah.
I've got materials ready to go. I have shelves full of stuff to make stuff out of. And it's been something that I feel that I really need. But that's not everybody,
Right?
Because not everybody.
See,
is
I
a
like
maker.
having. I have an air conditioner on my truck. You've been in my office, haven't you? You've seen the
Fancy.
office in my trailer. What I like about having the office on my trailer is it always keeps me on set.
Yeah.
So whenever a director or anybody wants to speak with me, I'm always right
there.
there.
Yeah.
I know I've had some line producers who prefer that I take an office in the building, but then I'm never on set. And
I'll do that as well, but and I don't even have an office I don't have the gold room office that's very typical. I have 2 workbenches.
That's so cool.
I've got a dirty bench and I've got a clean bench, and that's where I'm at on the trailer. Usually they make me use the dirty bench. But when there's a little more money, I'll make it clean. Then we'll have 2 clean benches.
Right.
But yeah, that's my space. And I have printers. I can set up. I usually have a Wi-Fi going. So
Yep, I always have Wi-Fi.
I always can use the truck as an office.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's more of a maker space than an office.
See, I love always being on set. It makes me. I got into the film business because I want to be on set.
That's where the show happens.
Right. I don't want to be in an office. I don't want to work out of my house. I don't want to work far away. I like opening the set every day, and on days when I can, I'll always tell my on-set person, if you ever need an assistant, I'm always there.
Yeah.
And
when I come to set, I
Brad.
try to be an assistant more than anything else.
Right.
Because it's easy to alpha over your on-set, but you have to trust your on-set crew to do the job.
I always do.
Yeah.
I love coming in. I try not to make all the attention immediately comes to me. But I'll say, on days, if I can do it, I would love to be on set and pass out stuff, especially whenever we do like big food scenes. I tend to be on set a lot because I do like to look over that.
Yeah.
Big weapon scenes, I always feel an obligation to be on set.
But this point, just to bring it back to you, Nikki, has got to be really interesting because every prop master is going to have a different style. We'll all get to the end, but we're going to take different routes.
Yeah.
You know, like whereas I might be making a lot, you know, if I have the time with my hands on my trailer because it's all ready to go. Others might not, and you probably have to balance what you're doing to adjust to those different styles.
Absolutely. Yeah. And lots of balance and lots of just learning who your customers are. And it's why it's so important to me to have such a close relationship with y'all. Because I think that kind of leads over into me pulling props. You guys are not you can ask for the same thing and I'm gonna pull something completely different for you guys.
So it's not the Nikki way or the highway.
Never. No.
You wanted me to pull props. This is the
what you're
luggage
gonna
you get.
The luggage and license plates.
I don't care that your show's in Philadelphia. Here's the New Mexico plates. They're prettier.
I like them more. I'm just to piggyback on your truck. I think that is so awesome that you have a makerspace on there. Just as a maker, that's so inspiring that you're able to continue that alongside being a prop master. That's so cool.
It allows you to do a lot, though.
But it's also very important, and that's something that really needs to get around as well, because I have a whole workbench where I could make things. I have my tools, I have my setup, I have my printers. And when I'm getting hired for a job, I've had a lot of times where they said, well, could you just ship your kit and we'll get you a 5-ton? And I'm like, no. I said, my trailer is to me exactly what the effects trailer is to the effects department. Mm-hmm. I said, my trailer is not the art department truck where it's just an empty truck that we pile a bunch of shit in and we transport it from set to set.
In the same way that you wouldn't ask the first chair violin of the Philharmonic to just, can you use this violin instead of the one you have? It's
right.
like,
you
this is my instrument. This is how I do what I do.
That's why I really try to get my line producers and directors onto my trailer. And I do my show and tells on my trailer.
Yeah.
Because I want them to see what they have at their disposal. To see how I have all of my various crates, how I have my kit with the flow that I have with it. It makes me look good, like I have my shit together. And when they come onto my truck, I said, this is at your disposal. I said, this is why at 3 a.m, if you all of a sudden decide you want to add something, I said, ask me. Because if I have it, it will be on set in a matter of moments. Mm-hmm. And I said, never feel like you're imposing on me.
Mm-hmm.
So how late is too late to call?
No, that's actually a really great question.
You mentioned 3 a.m, and these requests do come through.
What would happen if if I got a call on a Sunday morning and they redid a whole scene, they brought something forward by a couple weeks, and I needed to call you on a Sunday and said, Nikki, I'm going to be in ISS at 10 a.m. I need stuff boxed and ready to go. I mean, is that something, I'm sure if I went through Rick or whoever, back in the day, Greg, I have come into ISS on the weekends and we've pulled.
Yeah.
I mean, how have you had to do that? Have you ever had to come into ISS on a Sunday?
Yeah, I have. There have been some... I've had texts like, this is an absolute emergency. I need this. For example, it was like a maid's cart. It's shooting 8 a.m. on Monday. It's Sunday.
And when did you got the call on a Sunday?
And I got the call on a Sunday. And this example in particular, I was like, I'm so sorry. I cannot make it in. I'm literally getting my hair dyed. I have like the foil on my hair. And I'm like, I wish I hold on. Let me make this happen. So I am going through all the routes. I hit up management. They go and unlock the building. They're sending me pictures while I'm like, there's bleach in my hair. And then I send them over to the client.
Your hair looks great, by the way.
Thank you so much. Just to say, we'll make it happen. Yeah, if I realize that, it is not your guys' ideal and you guys are so respectful of our time. So if you're texting me on a Sunday, I know
it's because we just
big.
got off the phone
exactly
with somebody else who told us we needed the maid cart.
At the end of the day, the property department is very much a service department.
Oh,
we are there
100%.
to serve the production, and we, much like anything else, they come to us, they need stuff, and it's our job with a smile to do everything we can to make it happen. I mean, my last minute requests are always going to happen, and my first question is always, how much time do I have?
I always encourage, when I'm in my initial meetings with people, I always tell the directors and the showrunners and so forth, and I even tell the actors, I said, if over the weekend you need to call me, I said, never hesitate. I said, I would rather somebody call me on a Sunday and ask for something than for me to be met by a bunch of PAs as I'm unlocking my prop trailer in the morning saying, Scott, we need this. All these changes have happened. And it's like, if you had told me this on a Sunday, I could have prepared it. Now it's 6 a.m. on a Monday, and you tell me you want to have 20 pizzas for a 7 a.m. shooting call. I'm going to find a way to get it done. Yeah. But now it's become...
But they're not going to be the nicest pizzas.
Right.
It'll be a compromise. You'll be there with something.
I have cooked pizzas with a heat gun.
You didn't say they had to be edible pizza.
Yeah, how were they? How were they?
We got supermarket pizzas, and catering cooked them for us.
Yeah.
It was on Dead to Me, and catering cooked them for us, so we had them cooked. But as they were sitting there, I would take the heat gun, and I would get them nice and bubbly right before they were about to eat it. I would hit them with a corded heat gun, and it was great. But it was a scene that came in literally in the morning, and I had said to the first AD, "Why didn't you call me?" She goes, "Well, I don't want to bother you on your weekend." And I go,
"If it's not a good time, I won't pick up."
Yeah, or I'll say I could do it Monday morning, but I did have PAs meeting me at my truck saying, have you seen the schedule change? Hadn't gotten it. They didn't even have time for an email. They had just decided because we had an actor illness.
Yeah, that comes up. So has there ever been a time where you feel like you've maybe missed the mark? Because I can't imagine it, but I know it's happened.
It has
for
to
me.
have happened. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'm not perfect, and there I said it on a podcast. So now it's real.
Absolutely. I think I make mistakes. I don't want to say all the time, but they're all learning situations. And sometimes, I forget this one prop, or, I get a call like, I didn't see this on the truck, Nikki, what happened? And I'm like, oh no, got left behind. And it's just, all about pivoting and making it happen. I'll do everything I can to get you guys that prop, even that means sending a driver.
That has to be the worst feeling. And I try to be sensitive. There have been a couple times where I'm opening up boxes and I'm out of town, and I always try to get the stuff in advance. And I know I call Tyler, I've looked through the boxes. Am I missing something? Because, there was supposed to be, 10 police belts and you only put in 7. And there's this pause. And I hear Tyler is like really upset. I'm like, Tyler, it's not an issue. Can you get me the other belts? And he's like, Scott, I will drive them to you. I will drive them to Albuquerque myself if I have to. When do you need them by? Yeah. And I said, I need them in 2 days. He goes, they'll be overnighted tonight.
Yeah. We're all race car drivers. But you look ahead. There's no rearview mirror. It's for the folks that want to yell, they yell. But I think you get a lot more out of being solutions-based with just about everything, and recognizing that every mistake is a learning opportunity, and every education has a cost, right? So how much did that education cost? And if it's not that much, then it's no big deal. Let's just keep moving forward.
If I could pride myself personally on one thing.
Go ahead, pride yourself.
I really try to be to the people that work for me everything that some of the people I've worked for have not been.
Yeah.
So there have been times where I've honestly forgotten something, and I could just see that the person is so upset about it. And that's not something I do regularly. And I've never forgotten. It's never been we're about to film it and it didn't happen. But, it's just the shit happens, part of our business. And we do so much that's going to happen. I always will try to let you off the hook and make sure that I don't want you getting sick over this, because I know how that feels.
And we appreciate it. And you guys have been seeing it a few times. We are, as sales associates, we're juggling so many plates. And I feel like that's something that we don't have to remind y'all with. Like, we're human. It happens. We might forget that last minute addition. It's not going to happen all the time. We're doing our best to make it all happen, but it just happens. And I do appreciate that mentality of like not dwelling and not getting angry. That rear view mirror, like there's no benefit in us continuing to stare at it. We just got to lock in and move forward and find out a solution.
But what you said is the key. If it happens once every now and again, that's fine. I did the movie The Game Plan with The Rock. Was a football player, and he finds out he has an 8-year-old girl. And on the day, we give him a chin strap for his football helmet, and all of the football gear was handled by a football coordinator. They had a lot of professional football players on, so they got it for us, and we would institute it on the day. So we put the chin strap on the helmet, and the script supervisor noticed that it was a different strap than was in the previous scene. And we talked to the coordinator, and they had already shot it. And now they realized that there was like a certain pattern in the strap that didn't match the strap from the previous. So after, we corrected, and it became a bigger deal than it really needed to be. Like the first AD was telling the director, this is not that big a deal. Don't worry about it.
Nobody's going to care.
Right. But
maybe somebody will figure out that it's a movie.
At the end of the day, the director calls me into his trailer. And first time I had ever worked for him. And he sits me down and he goes, how could we prevent this from ever happening again? And I was like, Andy, you can't. I said, we've been working on this movie now for 8 weeks. I said, we haven't made this problem. We haven't had this problem. And I said, hopefully I get to work with you again. And I always do everything I can to prevent it from happening. But I said, it's a prop hair in the gate. And I said, sooner or later, I said, it's not about not having it ever happen again. It's doing everything we can to prevent it from happening again and showing you that I care. And I said, I can't promise you it's never going to happen again. I can't. I said, maybe we'll work 3 movies and it doesn't happen, and then it'll happen big time on the 4th. I worked his next movie, which was Race to Witch Mountain. And on that next movie, when I came into his office, he goes, what you told me? He goes, that's why I use you. And I've worked on almost all his movies since. He said, because you didn't lie to me and say, no, boss, that'll never happen again.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen a lot.
I think that's a perfect example of how working in this industry is always working within a less than ideal or slightly broken system. There's no perfect movie.
Well, we don't have the next day to make it good.
We can't go back. We can't figure it out. There's only forward. This was a perspective that I was given by Mr. James Cameron on Avatar, and we were talking about how after we'd gotten maybe 3 years into this movie, that we came up with a solution for cloth, for fabric, that didn't include the cameras. And I don't want to go into the weeds on how that technical stuff works, but we found the solution, and it was like, wow, it would have been really nice to have this way back when. And, I'm sorry it took so long to figure this out. And his response was, as soon as we are done making these movies, we will know exactly how we should have done them.
Right. What a great thing to say.
And it's a really good perspective for everybody that has to deal with this stress.
What a great thing.
Like you know how to do it only after you've done it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just something I offer to everybody that's made mistakes, along with that every education has a cost thing, because I really believe it's true. And there's no value in dwelling or berating or yelling. And it makes me sad that there are still people that are known as yellers in the industry, and hopefully they're few and far between. And
your photo doesn't end up in a magazine if you're one of those people.
Right?
Did you see your pictures in the magazine?
Did you know that Nikki Hicks is in this magazine?
I'm in there. It's me.
Let's just see. That's page 4.
Look, there's Nikki.
Look at that, page 8.
Look at that.
That's so exciting.
That's amazing.
I'm called all my family. I'm like, guys, I'm just a little
And
famous or something.
It's glossy and everything.
I know.
Oh, it's a great
And which
picture.
haircut is this? Is haircut number 17?
Haircut number 17, color number 50.
Yeah.
It changes. That's.
Have you gotten a physical copy yet?
I have.
Oh, good.
Yep.
How many do you have?
I have just one. I think I need one more.
Yeah, you have to have one.
Well, we have a whole box of them for you.
You got to send them to mom and
exactly.
grandparents.
And that way you don't have to steal them off the shelf at ISS that other people
That's
can't
exactly
have
what
them.
I was gonna do.
Well, I mean, this is a well-deserved accolade for you. And like I was saying at our first award show, that before we had that recognition, the highest honor that a property master could achieve in the industry was a poster in a hallway.
Yeah.
And
that's still a big deal to me. I still love seeing my posters with my name on it.
Teresa Corvino, she
I know.
reached out to
That
me.
was
She
wonderful.
was like, Muppets is on there. And I was like, girl, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get so happy when I see you guys' posters up there.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It really is. And, we're continuing to grow, but I think it's so important to acknowledge everybody that's on the team. And I don't think there's enough going to people like you or
Thank you.
even people like Lewis, who is very quiet about his self promotion. And I think
Lewis at SAT.
yeah, Lewis at SAT, like ISS could be a brand where you're selling hats. Like Weta Workshop, for example, is a brand that everybody knows around the world. And I'm like, Lewis, SAT, which is the manufacturing division of ISS, for those listening, if for our one listener, that they don't push their brand forward. And I think it's a mistake. Like, everybody knows ILM, right? Even though they don't have a personal relationship with it, they don't shop there, they don't use ILM, but everybody knows that brand. And I think the ISS brand and the Studio Art and Technology brand, and even Studio Graphics Incorporated, which are the three, sort of the trinity of the ISS group, which is now, what is it? It's ISS, SAT, SGI, by MBS.
Under MBS, yes. It's a mouthful.
It's a lot of letters. Maybe we can unscramble that at some point and come up with a really good anagram.
Yeah, the overall ISS group, it's expansive.
And it's hard to believe this all started in Greg Bielson's garage when he was a kid.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his father is Greg Sr.
Greg Sr.
started
Okay, yeah.
out of his garage.
Out of a garage.
How insane.
I think History for Hire started similarly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that gets back to the infrastructure that we have. What Los Angeles can offer, from my limited perspective, is these organizations that have been around for 50 years and plus, and that they've got it down, and they've got people like Nikki there.
There's more at our fingertips here than anywhere
assets,
in the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, and you make that an invaluable tool, not just for the property masters that are working with you, but also to the town in general. And will hopefully keep work focused here, at least a share of work focused here, for decades to come.
I've worked in every major city. Well, not every, but I've worked in New York, I've worked in Boston, I've worked in Albuquerque. I've never worked anywhere where the amount of magic at my disposal comes anywhere close to what LA has to offer.
Yeah.
I started my career in New York, and I'm a true New Yorker, but LA has it down.
Yeah, it's where it all started.
Yeah.
And that's not to say other cities aren't doing brilliant work.
No,
and they are.
by no means.
But
It's just
the history here and the breadth and depth of the number of people we have here, I think, still outstrips a lot of other places.
it's still here.
Yeah.
It's still here.
Not to toot our own horn, but honk honk.
Abuga.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah. You came up with the period horn.
I was just in New York last week, and I really wanted to go check out ISS.
You have to.
In Queens, and I just couldn't.
Oh my
I just
gosh.
never had the time to go out and do it. Have you been there?
Yeah, I actually helped set up the tactical department there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is it exactly?
It's Glendale. So I think Glendale, New York, near Jersey.
No. It's like closer. It's out in like past Queens.
Queens, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Towards Long Island, almost in Long Island. Yeah. How big a building is it?
It's sizable. I want to say it's similar to the size of ISS in Sunland.
And are they parking trailers there as well?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But we do have a dock you can pull up to. It's big. Yeah. Very awesome. Supply of stuff for New York. It's great. Yeah.
See, that would be fun for you to take a season and go work out of ISS in New York.
Right? I love New York. I've definitely pitched that. Yeah. I'm like, send me out there for a few weeks. I love it.
Oh, we had such a great time. I was just there for the whole week.
Yeah.
Miss it a lot, but I don't miss working there.
It's tough. I didn't realize there's so much more on a prop master's plate over there.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are doing cars and animals, and that's insane to me.
And apple boxes in some cases, and cable crossovers and garbage cans.
And tents.
All that
stuff. Wow. Plus, you have to do it in sub-zero weather, and then hot and humid, sticky weather in the summer.
That's rough.
Yeah. Don't miss that at all.
Well, Nikki Hicks, this has been such a joy. Thank you.
Yeah, it really was.
All
it was
that you do.
Guys.
It was so much fun.
I appreciate
But
you so
our
much.
producer, Mikey Trudell, just gave me the twirly finger, and so it's time to wrap things up on yet another Prop Talk. And congratulations on finally getting the recognition in prop culture.
Thank you.
And hopefully when the McMuffin that's my joke for MacGuffins. When the MacGuffins come out, people on stage are thanking you appropriately, because we cannot do this without you and people like you. So
And it really
we
is time
appreciate
that we
you.
get your name into the credits. Our
I
salespeople
Yeah.
should really be.
I don't know why
Be listed.
This is the time that occurred to me. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm 10 years too late on that, so I
It's
apologize.
okay. We got to
but
put it in that
Better
letter.
doing it
Let's
now
do
than
it.
10
You know
years
what?
from now.
We're in a race car. We're not looking behind us.
Right.
We're looking ahead.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll be back for another episode of Prop Talk.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Prop Talk, the official podcast of the Property Masters Guild, brought to you by retired and working prop masters. If this is your first time listening, please make sure to like and subscribe and comment wherever you're hearing it. If you would like to know more information on the Property Masters Guild or have any questions for us here at Prop Talk, go over to propertymastersguild.org. We're also on Instagram @_the PMG and all other socials. Until next time.